Hello, I'm Robert, a voluntary fact-checker, science blogger and voluntary fact-checker helping people who are scared of many things. And this time it's people who are scared of the flyby of Gleise 710 over 1,000,000 years into the future. So, and generally people, also this will, I hope to help any people generally who are scared of stars and stars flying past Earth. So this is to show what's going to happen. This is very, very far in the future. To give you an idea of how far in the future this is, consider all the past history of Homo sapiens, of modern humans. Way back to the early cave paintings, and then even further back. Then imagine all that, and then you do that again, and then again, and repeat that 6 times. And that, well, this starts just a little bit before we get to the 6th time of that repeat in the future, very, very far future. So in that very distant future, this is what we will see happening. Now, look, what I want you to look at is these years and how they flip by. Every time that year flips by, it's another 10,000 years. And this is the star that's going to be coming, a very faint star at this point. It's going to be coming close to our solar system in this very distant future. So you see 10,000, another 10,000, another 10,000, another 10,000, another 10,000. It's still not moving. And then we gradually see it just beginning to move. Can you see it just gradually beginning to move? And look at the 10,000 years flipping by. 9, and another one, and another one. And now it's just gradually coming. But it's moving fast compared to any other star. But poof, there it is, and now it's done its thing. And that's another many 10,000s of years for it to do that. So that's the star. And we know this. We know the nearby stars very well. The way they did this video, these are the actual positions of over 1 billion stars in this actual Milky Way. They've measured the position and they've measured the speed. The speed sideways and the speed towards and away from us. They can measure both of those, combine them together, and then they can plot it forward into the future using the gravity of everything as well. And they can work out what all these stars are going to do in the far future. And that's the answer. So this is the only one that they found so far that comes anywhere near us in that far into the future. And we know that none of the others, none of the nearby ones are doing this. We know that for certainty because we could see it easily. You could see, we saw all the huge amount of warning we had for this. Tens of thousands of years. Hundreds of thousands of years. So there are no stars nearby that are going to do this anytime soon. So the quest, there isn't any worry for us for any stars. We don't need to worry about stars at all. And that includes hypervelocity stars. If you hear about those, we don't need to worry about those. They can be seen a long time in advance. And then this, when I say close, it's not that close. It's I've got the distance thing. At the closest, it could be very bright. It could be as bright as Mars at its brightest, and its closest. And let's see the distance. Let me just find the distance. Yes, here we are. At its closest, they don't know its distance very well. It could come a little bit closer than it seemed in that video. But at its closest, it's still 443 times further away than Neptune. And Neptune is 30 times further away than the Sun is from Earth. And the Sun is so far away that if you got in our fastest passenger jet, the 747, and flew constantly around the equator, at its fastest speed, non-stop, for 20 years. That's very roughly the same as the distance to the Sun. And comets, and then so this is 30 times further, 30 times that is the distance to Neptune. So that's about 30 times 20, so about 600 years at that speed to get to Neptune. And then this is another more than 400 times further away even than that. So very, very far away. The star's not going to do anything to us. So the only thing is that as it flies past, at that distance, there are some comets way, way out that orbit permanently, icy bodies. They're not actually comets in the sense of a tail. They're just icy bodies. But this star, as it flies past, could deflect some of those towards the Sun. And we get those fly past every year, and they fly past at a great distance, usually about the same distance as the Sun for the closest ones. And they're very rare. The closest any has come was 6 times the distance of the Moon in 1770. So we don't need to worry about those comets. They fly past at such a great distance. And that's because the Earth, though it seems big to us, is actually very small compared with the solar system. Just like a tiny midge in the Grand Canyon kind of scale. Very tiny thing in the vastness of the solar system. So but in the future, so the question is, it's no problem for us, but could these comets cause any problems for our descendants? Way, way in the future, even so far away that it's 6 times the time since the very first humans. So we're talking about very, very distant descendants. Could it be any problem for them? Well, first of all, they will surely, if they still have technology, then our technology will seem not very far beyond the Stone Age, or perhaps like archers. Like we think about ancient archery, then that would be about the same as what our technology would seem like to them. But even with our technology, then we know how to do it. We could do it. And we are actually even building this rather fine thing, rather interesting. No, we're not building it yet, sorry. We have these designs for this, which is, I'll just play it. There you can see it. So this is a design for an infrared laser array. And they heat up very easily, so you would only have them on for about three minutes a day. And these would fire laser beams into space. And the actual reason for doing this is to accelerate the a spacecraft, but very, very, I'll show you one of the spacecraft. This is what it's actually designed for, but we could use it for something else. So one of these tiny spacecraft, you see, tiny, I'm not a big spacecraft, and it's thinner than a sheet of paper, just a solar sail, fine, fine, fine film, the infrared light, when it hits the solar sail, then it bounces back again and gives just a little bit of a push. So this then can push the solar sail, and because it's so thin and light is so fast, they're pointing at the solar sail, and then they shoot their little beam of infrared light. There we are, and that then will push it off towards another star, and then it'll push lots of them off all at the same time. There's another one. Whoosh, off it goes. And so this same infrared light that is pushing these things off will maybe someday will push these off to look at another star. And these same infrared rays can melt the ice of a comet, and so they can deflect a comet. And so we've got this dual purpose. There it is. Now the artist's impression imagined this spacecraft flying past a distant planet. It's a planet around one of our nearest stars, but still very far away, and it could take a couple of photos. and then it would send those photos back to Earth. And so this is a way that we could get a close-up photograph of a nearby star, or a planet around a nearby star. So it could also explore the entire solar system that way as well. That was, I think, was the beam of light coming back again. Anyway, so we could use that to deflect the comets from, if this star does send more comets into the inner solar system, then we could use that infrared array to push those comets away from us, very much like it pushed away the little tiny spacecraft to the other star. But we can do it, it would have two ways of doing it, because also it would evaporate the surface of the comet, and that evaporating would make a little jet that would push the comet away from us. So that is a way that our descendants, hundreds, thousands, millions of years in the future, then they will, this is one way they could do it. There are other ways, that's just one of several ways that we could do it, if we put enough funding into it. So if we can do it, then for sure our descendants 1.3 million years from now, they will be able to defend Earth from these comets, if that's needed. So yes, Gleise 710 will pass by our solar system at some distance. We're not sure exactly how far away, but reasonably close, but not close enough to be anywhere near the planets. And it may deflect some comets into the inner solar system, but if it does, our distant descendants will be able to deflect those comets. So there's nothing to worry about for them either. Nothing to worry about now, and nothing to worry about for any star at the present, and then nothing to worry about for our comets, for our descendants, because they can deflect this comet, any comets. So hopefully that helps any of you who have been scared of Gleise 710. Do you got any questions, do you say? And if you've got any anything I want to do a debunk about, then again do say.